I'm the least knowledgeable about ecology. Some of my colleagues from IMAS will tell you I am a social scientist, but I understand I've learned a lot by being in the Blue Economy CRC, including an interesting thing that our work got the interest of the Australia-Israel Chamber of Commerce, because one of the most interesting innovations is concrete, ecocrete, and Israel has developed some really interesting environmental concrete, and so perhaps new products are coming out. Now, I encourage you to read our project. The core team is here, led by Valeria Komiakova, who, in a sense, proposed the idea as in our Brisbane participants' workshop as a smart idea, and was critically involved in the project, including also Stuart Frusher, who was one of with Irene, one of the drivers of the CRC initiative many years ago, and is still active in the, or was active in the Scientific Advisory Committee. Also some supporting partners, including Francis from Oysters Tasmania, Sven from Department of Natural Resources and Environment Tasmania, Adam Branch of Some Ocean Carbon, and of course Ruzbe Bassi from Smartcrete CRC, plus colleagues from the Maritime College, including Vikram and others involved. Really got, sorry, here we go. The project also had a really interesting connection with our colleagues in Belgium through the Blauw cluster, the Blue Cluster in Belgium, who are very interested in this. And if we're worried about congestion in our ocean space, have a think about what our Belgian colleagues face, where marine spatial planning is actually the only alternative because there's not much there. And in terms of best hazards, they are dealing with problems of ammunition and military and gas dumps, not from the Second World War, but also from the First World War. They know where they are, but they don't want to touch anything because it's there. So there's always someone worse off than you. We're really interested about how a floating artificial system could replicate the natural system, and then also you'd be used to enhance sort of ecosystem services, and you've developed some net benefits. Support offshore developments through a whole range of matters that have already been raised this afternoon in terms of wave attenuation, nuclear recycling, carbon sequestration, and of course the reason for doing this is, can we grow things there and make a commercial activity out of it. Now, reefs are a common around Australia. Could we develop a floating reef that maintains the benefits of these, but moving them from inshore to offshore for the same sort of reasons that we are been talking about further. Now, floating reefs are a novel and a blue sky concept, and in a way, current knowledge has been reliant on reefs. We've been making artificial reefs for millennia, but they're basically on the bottom in the seabed. So this is some of the information we had is constrained by that. We've got challenges in the shape and components, and the, in a sense, designing something that actually doesn't actually attract what you want, but brings things that you don't want in, and some of the difficulties there. Concrete's been the major material to date, and we looked at all sorts of materials, but there's other innovations, as we'll hear shortly, in concrete, but also ceramics and recycled HDPE plastics are showing potentials, although there's some really interesting challenges with plastics. There are bans in using plastics in artificial reefs around Australia already, so it's a matter of working out what we can use. And so, in a sense, the work at Smartcrete CRC, without stealing the next presentation's thunder, is really important for future work. Now, the next steps for us, we developed a roadmap for further opportunities, and as you'd expect, being researchers, got a roadmap, we're going to use it. So we're developing a project at the moment that integrates a number of initiatives in the CRC and across the programs, and we're looking, in a sense, to you in the audience, if you're interested, come and talk to us. We're keen for increasing the range of partners. We believe it's complementary to and supportive of the work that we're doing in the blue economy zones, or particularly and we have a plan for the future for this. So, in a sense, what we've got in this research map. Oops, go back if I can. Is to see a floating structure that has both, say, kelps or seaweed, fish, and other mussels and oysters floating, that you could actually possibly be able to lower it and move it around or create a cage around it. The idea would be to develop prototype options in a virtual space. We need engineers and ecologists working together. We test it in a virtual space, lots of things. Then look at the way to, this is standard sort of program development, the best performing option is a prototype. And then while we're doing this, we need to obviously engage in discussions with the regulators and seek permits and approvals. It was interesting when I did speak about artificial floating reefs to some of the EPA staff in Tasmania. They said, we'd rather not deal in hypotheticals. Come back with when you've got a project, because it raises a range of things. And I think that when we're doing something novel, it's going to be challenging, and we need to work with, as John Adams was pointing out, work with the regulators and, in a sense, understand the issues around it. And then, of course, the aim at the end of this would be to deploy a prototype and then monitor and test it, and then hopefully move it into a commercial thing. And I think that's probably the end. It was a great project. I really thank the team for it. As I said, I learnt a lot, and I think that the roadmap, I think, is there to take us to the next stage, and we'll hopefully be submitting a project to the CRC hopefully later this year if we can get the organised. Thank you.